When is the best time to take your Zepbound compound, Tirzepatide? Hi friends, I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I have lost a whopping 90 plus pounds over the last 17 full months of being on Mounjaro because of the Mounjaro shortage, on Zepbound because of the Zepbound shortage, now on Tirzepatide, the compound of Mounjaro, and or it's the compound. So on today's episode, I want to talk a little bit about timing of when is the best time to have your shot. And I've done previous videos of this with Mounjaro, and then for Zepbound, and now for the compound, and my answers actually changed significantly from those videos. So if you're an OG viewer, it's different than what I said before. Before, I used to talk about, and my main thing, because I am on the highest dose, Zepbound 15 milligrams, which is comparable, same thing for Tirzepatide compound, the highest dose of the compound. I used to, with the highest, when I wasn't on the highest dose, so when I was on like Mounjaro equivalent, Zepbound equivalent, 2.5 milligrams, 5 milligrams, 7.5 milligrams, to have my whole blocking be around side effects. And that's what I want to encourage you. And we're going to talk about that at the end of the video. I'll come back to that. But for a lot of our older viewers, our OG viewers here who are on higher doses, I have switched now, and I think the most important part is, when am I going to be taking my shot? Morning, afternoon, evening. Before it was focused around side effects. It's now focused around appetite suppression. And what I want to encourage you to think about for your body, and talking with your own healthcare provider, I'm not a healthcare provider, I don't pretend to play one on the internet, simply my experience, strength, and hope of losing over 90 pounds and having been on this medication continuously for the last 17 months and probably for the rest of my life, that maximizing appetite suppression is where I'm going towards and what I look for with having my shot. And so I used to say that I would take my shot around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon to help minimize and mitigate side effects. A couple things have changed on that. Because I'm on the highest dose, there is nowhere else for me to titrate to. I am stuck here, and probably stuck here for the next couple of years until higher doses of GLP-1 medication come out. That 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I've been testing and trying different times, and where I'm camping out now is around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Why? Because of the appetite suppression I feel at dinner time. Walk with me down this path and we'll kind of reverse engineer that timing component of it. So when I have around the morning time, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, I have my shot. I don't typically feel my shot, and you need to track, and I have a whole free tracker, by the way. It's down in the description link below on countessofshopping.com, a side effects tracker. I want to encourage you, whether you've started your GLP-1 journey, you just started, or you've been on for a while, track your side effects, doses, time of day, feeling, because there's not that much data on this topic that would be applicable for you besides you. So start tracking it. You can, if you don't want my free tracker, and use your phone, figure out some way. I would really encourage you to track this information. And so for me in the morning time, having that, I start to feel, because I've tracked my numbers, I start to feel side effects, appetite suppression, usually like 6, 7, 8 hours later. Around the 8-hour mark, it's a sweet spot. So for me, taking it at 9 or 10 in the morning, if I said 10 o'clock, that for me, 8 hours later is at the 6 o'clock time spot, which is dinner, around that time spot. And so for me, that's curbing my dinner for that evening, of where I would normally have a bigger plate of food and having much smaller protein and maybe some vegetables with that. And then going into the next day, I'm also really feeling that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but more so for that dinner that night. And something about dinner for me, you know your body better obviously than I do, but for me, I will eat more at dinner time, or late afternoon and evening is when I tend to eat more, the most throughout the day. And so kind of curbing that for having the best time, because my intention is Zepbound weight loss, and having for chronic obesity management. I'm 90 pounds down on my weight loss goal. I want to lose 100 pounds. I'm still technically overweight, but I really want to get into like not overweight. I was morbidly obese, and then I got to the obese category, and now from obese to overweight, and now I just want to be not overweight. So pushing towards this goal, I'm hoping, and what I'm kind of finding is that by curbing dinner time, it was a bigger meal, more calories. And so curbing that down for the appetite suppression is where I'm going. Now, that's one framework that you can do with this, is the appetite suppression. If you're looking to mitigate side effects because you just titrated it up on a dose, or if you have, in addition to titrating up on your dose, or you're on lower dosages, you've just started this medication for the last few months, then thinking about side effects is really, really, really important, I think, in my humble opinion, non-doctor healthcare provider opinion. And so going back over to, for me, to mitigate side effects, the best time for me was around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because those side effects would start to peak while I was sleeping. Have side effects from Mounjaro, Zepbound, and compound Tirzepatide woken me up in the middle of the night? Yes, they have. Yes, they have. Um, yes, they have. I've been woken up from a dead sleep to have diarrhea. Like some of my, and we know the most common ones, the most common side effects are gastrointestinal, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, constipation. If you are having constipation and you have not tried Bioptimizers, this video is not sponsored by them. I just love so much their magnesium breakthrough. It has 7 types of magnesium in them. I used to take one magnesium that had 1 type. For me, drastic difference in the way I feel. Also I don't have constipation really anymore. I attribute it to, and also my Oura Ring, I did a whole video on my sleep study. I have the scientific data to show taking Bioptimizers with my sleep makes a big difference. So I'll link down below. It's use the discount code QUEEN. It's down in the description link below. That has made a big difference in sleep. And so anyways, and constipation and stuff. But the point that I'm trying to make with side effects is if you're trying to mitigate them, there's 4 major ones. Like, and vomiting really for me, I've never had that, but your body's different. I have had nausea, and I've had that now at the highest dose. I have never had nausea, so just because you don't have one side effect does not mean it's not gonna come later on. But with those side effects, I had a friend who just started taking a compound. And she called me. She was freaking out. She's like, oh my gosh, I just took my shot an hour ago. I want to barf my brains out. I'm so nervous. And was like really having a full-on like anxiety attack about it, and really felt like she was going to throw up. And I'm like, if you really think you're not doing well, you should go to the emergency room. Less than 1% of people have really bad side effects. We know that. My source on that, you guys know I require myself to be factually accurate and scientifically accurate. My source was that the doctors on the Oprah show when I was on the Oprah earlier this March, on the Shame, Blame, Weight Loss Revolution show. And the doctors on that show said it was less than 1% of people have severe side effects. And probably a lot of it was people are titrating up too quickly, but that's a subject for another day. So with those would be things like pancreatitis, appendicitis, like the black box thyroid cancer, which is a genetic cancer. FYI, it's a genetic cancer. Just for people, I have thyroid issues. I have hypothyroidism, and so it's a genetic thyroid cancer, to be clear. So there's some other there's other ones too, but there's less than 1%. And so that was my question to her as I was walking her through. I'm like, I think your side effects, because she's my friend, you know what I mean? I know her well enough to be, I was like, I think your side effects are mental. It's not physical at all. You're psyching yourself up. You've heard all this media stuff. And I was like, I really want you to get in tune with your body of what is your body really saying? Is it this like hype up that you're making it to be with side effects? Or is it because you heard all this stuff that is great for clickbait, but not like actually practical because it's less than 1% of people, and not negating those less than 1%? That's horrible. To have appendicitis or pancreatitis, that's awful. So not negating those, but it is a 99% of people don't have those severe side effects. And so for my question to my dear friend was, is it mental or is it really physical? Like, check in with your body. And then she's like, I don't know, I can't tell. I was like, go breathe, go pause, go pray, go sit, go sip a drink of water. Like, just sit and calm your body down. Stop having an anxiety attack. Like, well, let's walk through it. Like, calm it down and get into your space of really feeling your body, of what is it really feeling. And I think that's one of, for me, being over 100 pounds overweight. Oops, that's not the picture I wanted to show. Being over 100 pounds overweight, clearly there was a disassociation with my body. To be that morbidly obese, and now to really, one of the things that I've learned is to really get in tune with what my body wants, what it needs. It's giving me continuous signals throughout the day if I pay attention and listen to what it needs. And so that's one of the biggest gifts of GLP-1 medication, in my humble opinion, is I get really in tune with what's going on with my body. And so for her, it was a mental side effect. And so if you're going along this journey, that's why I go back to a tracked number grows and having data, either using my free tracker, it's a side effects tracker that's down in the description link below, or on your phone, some method of tracking, because then you'll have data. It takes the emotion out of the equation when you're like, okay, I took my shot at this time. It was this dose. This is how I felt. These were the physical side effects I had. I had diarrhea 12 hours later. I had diarrhea 3 days later, or whatever. Or I had diarrhea because I ate a bucket of fried chicken. It wasn't even anything to do with the GLP-1 medication. It's because I ate a bucket of fried chicken and French fries. had nothing to do with the medication. You know what I'm saying? Like, it helps to develop patterns and give scientific data on it too, which I think is important. And so for me, I'm at a slightly different point because I've been on this medication for so long, 17 months, and I've been stuck at this dose now for how many months, month after month after month, that for me, it's the best time to take my shot is for the appetite suppression. For you, the best time to take your shot may be for side effect prevention or mitigating those. Or maybe you're like me in the camp of I welcome side effects. Some people don't like when I say that, but it's the truth. A viewer had written, and I thought it really got me thinking, so thank you to this viewer, who's like, I don't want to welcome side effects. I don't want to welcome the negative parts of diarrhea, constipation, nausea, or vomiting. I don't want to welcome that as my weight loss tool. I want to welcome healthier things. And I was like, I thought about that too. I was like, But for me, it's using the tool to my advantage of when I'm feeling nauseous, I'm not going to eat as much. And that is helping me have a pause and reprieve from food. And for me, looking at it from that standpoint of having a pause and reprieve is helping me to develop a healthier relationship with food because I'm feeling my body. I'm not eating as much. When I am eating, it's more nutritious food. It's protein-focused, nutrient-dense food. And so anyway, it was a great, because I could see the pros and the cons of that too, but I wanted to throw that out there. Some people are like, I don't want to welcome side effects. For me, welcoming side effects has been very helpful, effective tool for weight loss on my chronic obesity management and using it to my advantage as opposed to a disadvantage. But this is why it's individualized for you. And this is why I want to throw these ideas out there for you of my experience, strength, and hope of what's worked well, what's not worked well, what I'm currently doing, what I did before. It's crazy now that I have like almost 300 videos on GLP-1 medication, people commenting on my early day videos or people binge watching all of my early day videos. I'm like, so much has changed since then. Like some of the information I shared is different now, being on a higher dose, and the strategy is different. Because you guys know I'm going to be strategic about this. That for sure we know. I'm going to play chess on it and think 5 steps ahead. And I know you are too, because you're a smart individual. If you stayed this long in the video, you're a smart cookie. And so I want to encourage you thinking with the end in mind and reverse engineering your shot, what maximize it best for you at this point with your dose. If you're earlier on, or maybe you've been on a particular dose, like say you're on 7.5 milligrams of Zepbound and you want to stay on that for a couple of more months. So maybe you do go back to the appetite suppression or do go back to welcoming the side effects. Or maybe you just went from 7.5 milligrams to 10 milligrams and you're like, the tsunami of I'm so full. So maybe then you do take your shot at a different time spot. If you know for your body, because you've tracked your information, you start feeling things around the 8-hour mark, the 10-hour mark, the 12-hour mark. For me, it's golden. Within that first, it like builds the first 24, 48 hours is like this and then goes back down. And then at the 5-day mark is the half-life dose for Zepbound and Mounjaro, of where we have the half-life dose of it, which is why we're hungry on day 5, day 6, day 7, the hunger level, because the dose is the half-life dose. That's why it feels differently on those days. So maximizing strategically on day 1 and day 2, and even into day 3 and 4. Day 3 and 4 are definitely different for me, but maybe for you they're not. And we have so many people in the Countess of Shopping community, because I have a free group with thousands of people. Many, many people are on the beginning loading dose. Mounjaro 2.5 milligrams, Zepbound 2.5 milligrams, and the compound equivalent beginning dose. And they have been on it for a year or 6 months. You don't necessarily have to titrate up. And I want to make that clear that there's these dosing schedule things. Talk to your healthcare provider. That should be an individualized one-on-one conversation. You don't have to titrate up if you don't want to. And my encouragement has been, I wish I didn't titrate up as quickly. Learning, Eli Lilly tells us we have to learn how to make permanent lifestyle changes with our food and physical activity. And so learning those as early as possible. I did the best I could with the tools that I have along the 17 plus months for sure. And I'm making permanent lifestyle changes. Like my food is so different now. And I think that's one of the reasons why. And an awesome viewer commented on the last video. And if this was you, thank you so much, because I talked about it at dinner last night as our dinner conversation with my husband. My kid wasn't there, but with my husband, of I have the tools now because my appetite suppression is less, but thank God I started working on permanent lifestyle changes a year plus ago. It's taken me this long to now to get to the point of where I don't have as much appetite suppression. I don't feel the side effects. I don't have all these things. And so I'm really having to work the tools in my tool belt of things that I've learned to make permanent lifestyle changes with physical activity and appetite suppression. If I was just starting to make those changes now, I would be screwed completely. because I wouldn't be able to do it. I needed to have that like hump. So ride the wave, friends. Use this to ride like your surfboard. Ride that wave for your advantage. For me, eventually it has ended, so to speak. Not ended fully. And I don't want to be, by the way, I don't want to be henny penny, the sky is falling, or gloom and doom, or whatever. I am so incredibly grateful, be clear, so incredibly grateful for this amazing. When I think about it and pause, I weep about it. So I'm not going to pause and weep on this video, but the life changes this medication has given me to be able to go potentially horseback riding with my kid, to have Nerf gun fights with him, to because I'm physically active enough to go run with him, to be able to go swimming in the summertime, to be able to do all of these things, to be on a size 24 pants now to a size 14 pant, getting close to the 12 pant size. Like, that is crazy. That is a gift. And so I'm not negating any of that of the gift. However, for me, GLP-1 medication has drastically changed the way I feel now 17 months later than when I did at the beginning. When I did at the beginning, I was so full. I was like, oh my gosh, for the rest of my life, I'm going to feel this way. Like, just very, very full with food. I couldn't eat another bite. I'd eat a few bites and be like, I'm full. That has not continued for me. Eventually it did end. And so I want to encourage you, if you have that gift right now, learn the tools, learn the skill set, track the data for when is the best time to take your Zepbound shot, figure it out for you. So then when you do have these slowdowns or slow peaks, or when you are on a particular dose, maybe you're on Zepbound 5 milligrams right now, and it's starting to wax and wane for you, get an extra month or two on that dose before you titrate up using some of these other tools to help ride that wave longer. Because eventually you're going to be like, maybe, or not I shouldn't, and I don't want to make blanket statements, so I take that back. If you are like me at the highest possible dose, I have no option but to continue to stay here. I wish I had had another 6 months of being able to go from 12.5 milligrams to 15 milligrams. But maybe I wouldn't have lost the weight the way that I have. I mean, many of you guys have also given me the pros of that too, of you've lost the weight that you needed those early wins earlier on to do this. And data-wise, statistically speaking, that's where people lose the most weight, is on the 15 milligrams. So all of that to say, side effects, appetite suppression. I feel like I went through a laundry list of those. Is it mental versus physical side effects too? That is really, really important to discern those. Are you working yourself up mentally, or is it physically real happening with those? Or if you're thinking about, oh my gosh, I have diarrhea, and then eventually have diarrhea. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I think it's really important to be in tune and in check with your body as well, and tracking those. I had diarrhea on the 4th day or whatever. Like, I think that's important to know. But I had diarrhea, and here's the meal that I had with the diarrhea. It was a normal meal. It wasn't a bucket of fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is where it's really important and individualized for you. And then you can also pull that data for your healthcare provider too. Healthcare providers are like, when you're having those sessions together, and I use Join Fridays. I'm obsessed with them. I love them. Use the discount code Queen. It's linked down in the description link below if you need a new healthcare provider who prescribes, by the way, both brand name and compounds, and work with compound pharmacies, and has weekly, included in their membership, weekly group dietitian calls, like hello, and a bunch of other calls too for education are included in the membership. Just that part, the dietitian part alone, I'm like, is well worth the membership. So, sweet friends, 2 things. 1, your accountability question. What are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? Tell me in the comments. 2, our emoji for today is going to be a clock. We're going to have a clock today for our emoji, and that will signal to me that you've made it this far in the video. I will pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, I'll uplift you in positive thought, but it's like my bat signal to know that you've made it this far in the video, because I care about you. I care about you. Sweet friends, we've been through the gauntlet here. I want to know down below, what is your best time too? I'm taking an unofficial poll. If you want to answer, what is your best time for your medication? I would love to know. I'll be taking mine. What's today? Oh, tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? At 9 or 10 a.m. I think tomorrow. I got to go look at my calendar. Okay, sweet friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings, because life is delicious. Love y'all. See you later.